Welcome back to Prana Dive here in Amed, Bali. My name's Turk. I'm the managing partner and head instructor. And we're back for another video. It's been a while. We're back. Let's jump into this, shall we? The epic battle between technical divers and recreational divers. What is that battle? You're about to find out in a minute. Hint, it's not a battle.
Here's a sobering fact. Technical divers, despite diving in more challenging conditions, often have lower accident rates than recreational divers. Why? It's
I love a good shark.
not just about skills, it's about the mindset. Today, we're going to explore some of the takeaways from the technical diving mentality that can make.
Okay, that's twice now he's talked about technical diving and shown recreational divers. If you're going to say technical diving, show me a shot of a technical diver. And then when you speak of recreational divers, show me a shot of a recreational diver.
Your recreational dives safer and more enjoyable. Now, you might be thinking that recreational diving is all about carefree fun in the sun. But what if I told you that seeming
More carefree fun underwater. Yeah, but okay, we'll keep going.
approach could teach us something crucial about dive safety that technical divers often overlook? And for those not super familiar with these terms, let me define them here. Recreational diving is what everyone starts with, and through various levels of certification, you can dive to 130 feet or 40 meters. Tech or technical diving allows you to go much deeper than that using more technical skill and technology.
I gotta stop right there. The actual definition of recreational diving is diving no deeper than 40 meters within your NDL, your no decompression limit. So how long we can stay down before we have to start doing decompression stops. So in a recreational dive, nothing deeper than 40 meters, and at any point in time during your dive, you should be able to make a direct descent to the surface without stopping. Well, Turk, what about your safety stop? Well, that's a good question. Safety stops are great. We should do safety stops. They are recommended. They are not mandatory in recreational diving. You can just go straight to the surface. If you had to do a safety stop, then there'd be no need for someone to do a CISA, which I don't think there's a need to do that anyway. That's another video. We're going to move on. So, and also, technical diving allows you to go deeper. Yes, it does. But it also allows you to dive at the same depths recreational divers dive at, but for longer times, because now we understand what happens when we go past that no decompression limit, our NDL, and how we make our decompression stops so we can off gas all that nitrogen that we've been on gassing throughout the dive. I can still do a 20-meter dive with a bunch of recreational divers, but when their NDL starts getting low and they're going up, I can stay there. So he's close. I think there's a few key points that he missed out. I think there's a few key points he missed out on, but let's get back into the video and see what he says.
Often mixtures of gases and several gases stay.
Really nice dry suit. I love the Fourth Element gear. I'm a huge fan of everything Fourth Element puts out. I wish I had some more of their stuff. I don't.
Aged for different depths. Cave diving exists in parallel to.
Okay, that's not cave diving. That might be a cavern, maybe a swim through. Neither diver should be in this swim through. Look at their propulsion technique. They have a single cylinder. I can't see the beginning, so maybe it's just a 3-meter swim through. I'm not really sure. But none of this looks safe to me.
Tech diving. But for this video,
And look at this.
Oh, would you look at that? Just look at that.
Will you look at this? Well, what is that kick?
I'm going to combine them because I don't want to have to keep saying tech and cave diving. Recreational diving is more known for a laid-back approach that often gets criticized by more technical-minded divers. They argue it's not rigorous enough, that it doesn't prepare divers for real challenges. Don't get me wrong, there's value in the technical mindset, but it's important to realize that the recreational approach has its own unique benefits. The emphasis on enjoyment in recreational diving often leads to more frequent diving for divers. The more you dive, the more comfortable and confident you will become in the water.
I'm not sure. Maybe I misunderstood. But it sounded like he was saying that recreational divers have more fun than technical divers, which I don't know if I would agree with. Actually, I know I don't agree with that. Technical divers, yeah, there's a lot that goes into a technical dive. A lot of planning, logistics, making sure that you nail those plans on your dive, but we still have fun. I just did my hypoxic CCR course, closed circuit rebreathers, for those of you who don't know. And a hypoxic course takes you to 100 meters. Was it a lot of work? Absolutely. Was it fun? Absolutely. Let's keep going.
This repeated exposure builds a kind of intuitive understanding of the underwater environment that can just be as valuable as technical skills and knowledge in some situations. All divers will be introduced to diving and naturally want to explore recreational diving. And let's face it, recreational diving is not easy for many folks, leading a small handful of those people sticking out and diving long term that can even get to the level of skill to even approach to wanting to do technical diving. Recreational diving is
He is right that there's a lot of people that take up recreational diving. They may do their course, maybe they're on holiday, vacation, whatever you want to call it, depending on what part of the world you're in. And they go 10, 15 dives and they don't dive again ever. Or maybe they don't dive again for another year or 2 years. The population of scuba divers is very, very small, less than 1% of the world. Now you take that 1%, and what part of that 1% actually scuba dives on a regular basis? That's much, much smaller. So he's right there. I don't think you need a bunch of dives to develop your foundational skills, because those should have been done in your open water course. Now, I will admit, some instructors, some agencies don't do a great job of building those foundational skills for you. It's tick, 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 tick. Now, I just talked to somebody, one of my students the other day. We were talking about mastery of a skill. This person happened to also be an instructor for another agency. And he was laughing about, oh yeah, I saw somebody struggle with their mask remove and replace. And after the second time the diver did it, the instructor's like, that's great, congratulations, you mastered it. No, they still struggled, but it wasn't mastery by any means of the definition. So that's why I teach for the agency I teach for, RAID. From the very beginning, buoyancy and trim drilled into you from the start. So a nice solid foundation, because if you don't have good buoyancy, you're not a scuba diver.
truly the entry point to scuba diving, and it is where the most life below the water is going to live. Thus, the focus of recreational diving should be about enjoyment, cognizant of the environment, and growth as a diver. Of course, this doesn't mean we should throw caution to the wind. Basic safety practices, proper training, and respect for your limits are still critical. But it does mean that we shouldn't underestimate the value of that recreational mindset, that sense of wonder, that ability to relax and truly experience the underwater world. These aren't just about having fun, they're about developing a different kind of diving proficiency. While enjoying your dive is crucial, there's another side of the coin. What if I told you that seemingly rigid world of technical diving holds secrets that could revolutionize your underwater safety?
Technical diving doesn't hold any secrets. There's no secrets. It's all out there on the internet. And there's no secrets. Again, I don't want to keep bringing up and make this about agencies, but again, that's why I love RAID so much, is they kind of look at it as every diver is going to become a technical diver. You may never become a technical diver, which is fine. But they want to start building those foundations, so when you do get into tech, it's not a complete uphill fight for you. There's no giant, massive, steep learning curve anymore, because you've been given little bits of this all the way up through it. So there's no secrets. We as technical divers don't have, when you become a technical diver, you don't get some key to a book of knowledge that suddenly tells you everything you needed to know about diving.
It's not just about pushing limits, it's about a mindset that could save your life. I'll be honest, I haven't yet ventured into the realm of technical diving myself, but I've seen firsthand how its demanding nature has challenged divers to improve. The principles of technical diving can enhance safety in all diving scenarios, not just the extreme ones. Technical diving is a world of complexity and high stakes. It involves diving beyond those recreational limits, often in overhead environments like caves or deep wrecks.
Often. I don't know. I would be interested to see how many technical dives happen in the ocean, on reefs, or for that matter, in quarries or lakes that have nothing to do with wrecks or caves. That'd be an interesting thing. I'm not sure that most tech dives happen in caves or wrecks, but it is a subset of technical diving is penetration. Do not penetrate anything without proper training. But back to the video.
The level of skill required is immense and the margin of error is slim. But it's not just about the physical challenges. The technical diver mindset is characterized by meticulous planning, rigorous training, and constant skill refinement, not to mention enough redundancies to make sure those redundancies don't break. The refinement needs to be built in so that when things go
Enough redundancies to make sure that the redundancies, that was overly redundant. I don't know. It was confusing. You don't have a redundancy for your redundancy. We carry a computer, your main computer. You have a backup computer in case this one is to bed. You have a mask. You have a backup mask, whether that's in your pockets or your butt pouch if you're in side mount. So yes, we have redundant sources of gas, side mount or twin set. So there's redundancy, but there's no redundancy for your redundancy. Anyway, just keep going.
wrong, there are systems of all those redundancies, confidence, and comfort in the skills to handle the issues like the back of their hand so they can get to the surface safely, not just once, not just twice, but every time. Because such a high caliber of skill is needed, it puts the divers in a position where not all of the dives can be for pleasure anymore.
Wrong. The couple things I wanted to talk about here. So let's just go back for a second.
Twice, but every time.
Just talking about getting to the surface. That is the goal of every technical dive, is that every teammate goes down and comes back up safely. That is the main number one goal. Bring everybody back. Everybody that goes down comes up, we get out safe. When you're down there, we have fun. So don't say that there's no fun in technical diving.
Because such a high caliber of skill is needed, it puts the divers in a position where not all of the dives can be for pleasure anymore.
That's not true. I don't do a technical dive if it's not for pleasure. I mean, unless I'm teaching, obviously that's not for pleasure. I'm developing someone else's skills. But it's absolutely for pleasure. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. Why would you go do a tech dive if you're not having fun? That's a job. Doing something you don't want to do is a job. Yeah, I have a blast on technical dives. I love them. If I didn't have fun, why would I do them? And why do you keep talking about technical diving, but you only show recreational divers? I get it if that's the only footage you have, but find somebody else's footage you can use. Ask a technical diver, hey, can you send me some tech footage so I can use in my video? It's confusing to some. Some people are going to see this because you're talking about technical diving and think this diver is a technical diver. He's clearly not a technical diver. There's a lot of things that tell me that.
You have to start introducing dives to bring you pain, or rather, build your skills with practice and meticulous improvement.
Okay, if he's talking about the course, yeah, the course is no fun. Some people enjoy it. I enjoyed my tech course after a while. It was a lot of dives. My first course was the Raid Deco 50 course. We were told that we had 9 lives like a cat on the dive. If you die 9 times, repeat the course. We died 3 times, me and my team. We named our team Team Walking Dead because after the first dive, we died 3 times. We got better after that. But there is a lot of pressure, a lot of pushing. pushing your limits, and then you watch your limits expand a little bit, which I think is a great part of technical diving. It's like, ooh, I didn't notice that before. Now I'm picking up on these things. So your situation awareness widens, the knowingness that you have that, hey, I'm not sure if that's a word. It is now. Hey, I can handle these problems if they happen, because we do compounding failures, 2, 3, 4 failures at a time. That's never, hopefully, never going to happen on a technical dive. We plan for one failure and then you get out. If you start drilling on 3, 4, 5 failures, you know that there's not much you can't handle underwater.
Not to mention, the more technical you go, the more you need proper experience, education, knowledge.
Yes, but he said the more technical you go. Technical is technical. There is no more technical. Deeper, yes, more deeper. If you go deeper, there's a lot of different skills, protocols you need to follow. It doesn't mean it's more technical. It's still all technical. I know I'm really splitting hairs here, and I could be a lot grumpier. This is a Grumpy Instructor Reacts video, but I don't know. Guess I'm just not feeling grumpy. I'm teaching a side mount course starting tomorrow, so that's never bad.
Demand to get good training for these procedures is high. Some of the standards can be very opinionated in the way you should dive. The technical
No. The standards are the standards. They're not opinionated. We all have the same, essentially the same standards for doing a 50-meter dive, a 60-meter dive, an 80-meter dive, a 100-meter dive. The configurations can be highly debatable. There is obviously the DRI crowd, do it right. I kind of dive more the DIRC. Do I really care?
You're not funny and nobody likes you.
I make me laugh. But there are some configuration things that we discussed that not everybody agrees on. But the standards are the standards. I've said this before. Your vocabulary matters when we're talking about diving. It grinds my gears when someone calls it a tank. It's not a tank. It's a compressed air cylinder. That is different. I've complained about that before on these videos. Little things. It's a mask, not goggles. They're fins, not flippers. I said it, Chris. Shout out to Deep Six. I am a brand ambassador for them. I use their fins, their rash guard, their rigs. Love them. Thank you. They're still fins. They're not flippers. I don't care what you guys say.
Some of the standards can be very opinionated in the way you should dive. The technical approach isn't just about extreme diving. It's a commitment to mastery that can benefit all divers. It teaches us to respect the underwater environment, to always be prepared for the unexpected.
Recreational diving should teach you to respect the underwater world and always expect the unexpected. You shouldn't have to have that in tech. That's from the start. That's a foundation of recreational scuba diving. But okay.
To never stop learning and improving our skills.
Sorry, I want to pet the shark. I won't pet the shark, but I want to pet the shark.
Adopting this mindset doesn't mean you need to lose the joy and relaxation of recreational diving. It's about finding a balance, incorporating the best of both worlds. You can still marvel at the beauty of a coral reef while maintaining the heightened awareness of your surroundings and your equipment.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And again, with some weird video.
Next, let's talk about how I've ultimately seen the diving community collide on these two models. The community has long debated the do it right or DIR philosophy. But is there really one correct way to explore the underwater world, or are we missing the bigger picture?
Real quick, DIR comes from the beginnings of cave diving. These guys were doing some exploration. And obviously, as you're doing things that no one's ever done before, you're going to try configurations that people haven't tried. You're going to be trying different setups of those configurations. So different configurations of those configurations. And what they found is, hey, these are things that we should all do. That way we're all set up exactly the same. It's standard across all the divers. So if there's ever an emergency, you know how to help your buddy. Like when you set up your twin set, why we have the inflator hose attached to a certain rig, the first stage, and why this is attached here. So when you do your shutdowns, there's a lot that goes into it. But they found these configurations. Hey, this works best. We're having less issues with this. So this is the right way to do it. So DIR, do it right. I did have an instructor that used to hammer that stuff into us. Do it right, do it right. And I said, I dive DIRC. Do I really care? He was not very happy with that. But my buddies on Team Walking Dead thought it was funny.
I encountered this dilemma firsthand during a dive trip to Socorro. Our group...
Ooh, see those things right there? See that right there on that ship? In the U.S. Navy, we call those knee knockers or shin busters. Those will hurt you when you're running through the ship really fast. Sorry, that just brought back some memories of busting my legs open when I was on the aircraft carrier.
Divers, and the tensions quickly rose over what constituted proper diving techniques. One evening, a heated argument broke out over something as simple as where to put your dive computer. It was an eye-opening experience to see how passionate and divisive this do-it-right mentality can really become. And it's important to note, nobody was doubting the skill and experience of these technical divers. However, when they come and try to force their opinions on everyone else that this is the way to do it and there is no other way, of course you can imagine that riles people up on a small little boat.
I could see how that would rile people up on a boat. It goes on the right hand. End of discussion. Inflators in the left. Deflate, deflate. I want to be able to check my depth. SMB, checking my depth. Right hand. I don't care where you wear your watch. Computer goes in the right hand. Back up on the left. In case of emergency.
The origins of this philosophy are rooted in good intentions. It emerged from the cave diving community where precision and standardized procedures can mean the difference between life and death. The idea was to promote best practices, enhance safety, and elevate the overall quality of diving after a series of experienced and prominent divers died in the community. And the do-it-right philosophy is intended to bring safety to the entire diving world, to decrease the amount of death that divers have. So it has great intentions and foundations. When applied appropriately, this mindset can indeed lead to more standard dive gear loadouts, more focus on training, and readiness for emergencies.
What is going on with my coffee? Now I'm getting grumpy. How much time do we have? About half this video left. Look out, it's going to get ugly.
And stress on skill refinement. It encourages divers to continually refine themselves and stay current with the best practices and maintain a high level of awareness underwater. However, there's a downside to this rigid thinking. The pressure to always do it right can be overwhelming, especially for those newer divers. It can create unnecessary stress, leading to anxiety that actually compromises their safety underwater. I've witnessed promising divers second-guess their every move, their enjoyment of the dive overshadowed by a fear of criticism. Moreover, this mentality can be
So where it's fear of criticism, then you're diving with the wrong people. Unless it's constructive criticism. That's something we need. That's how we get better. I had more to say. I forgot. Oh, yeah. He keeps talking about technical diving. And he understands it. But you're not a technical diver, so I'm not sure you really fully comprehend what you're talking about. Technical diver versus recreational diver. If you're both, if you are a technical diver, I think you're more prepared to just have this discussion. If you're just a recreational diver, you talking about tech divers is talking without any experience, really.
exclusionary. Not everyone has the time or resources or the desire to dive at a technical level. By insisting there's only one right way to dive, we risk alienating potential divers and limiting the growth of the global diving community.
I agree. I think the DIR community can get very heated at times. I believe that they can be a little harsh quite often. When it comes to recreational diving, there are many ways of doing this. You know, I think a backplate and wing is how everybody should dive in the industry. Fully believe backplate and wing is something everyone should use. That's not the case. There are stab jackets or standard jacket style BCDs. Is one better than the other? Absolutely. Do they both work? Absolutely. So I think there's a little bit more flexibility in recreational diving when it comes to DIR type stuff. Now, DIR was never really meant for recreational diving anyway. It was meant for tech diving and, you know, looking at penetration in caves and deep wrecks and things of that nature. They have brought it into recreational diving because if it makes sense in these extreme environments, why wouldn't it make sense in recreational diving? But there are multiple ways to skin a cat. Sorry, cats. Not sorry.
It's important to realize that context matters in diving. What's right for deep technical dive might be overkill for a shallow reef exploration.
Get your trim right and stop with that modified flutter that's not needed in that environment.
The key is to find a balance between striving for excellence and allowing for flexibility based on the situation. Remember, there's rarely one right way in diving. What matters most is that you're diving safely and in a way that brings you joy. After all, isn't that why we all fell in love with diving in the first place? To bring this all together, regardless of where you are at in your own diving journey, there's something for everyone with these two worlds. The most important thing here is that the two cultures of the community understand one another and learn to make efficient use of that understanding. The Do It Right philosophy emphasizes standardization of team-based diving, planning, equipment, consistent high bars for training, strong skills and experience that form the main building blocks of all the teachings. These are put in place because when things do go wrong, these systems are there to ensure the redundancies and the confidence in the skill level are there to handle the situation without anyone getting hurt or injured.
Ooh, that was a really bad edit. I don't know who your editor is, but that was not pretty. You know, I'm getting pretty grumpy now. It's difficult. I've said this before on this channel when I'm doing these Grumpy Instructor videos. It is difficult being a content creator. I do have compassion for other creators. It's not hard to fix some of these things though, right? That cut could have easily been fixed. It could have been, you could have done some B-roll and hid the jump cut like that. Your background, yeah, my background sucks. I admit that fully. It's going to change here very soon. We got a whole new YouTube studio coming in to play. Prana Dive is going to look very different coming soon, so come check us out. You got this, I don't know why the BCD's hanging there with a picture that looks like it might be crooked on the wall. The lights are a little bit distracting and don't really match the rest of the colors you have going on. At least our colors are the same. I don't know. Little things can make your videos much, much better. There's lots of things in my videos I can do better, and I see it every time I make a video. I'm like, oh, I need to fix that next time. Or, hey, I can do this differently. So always making yourself better, always creating better content than the last video, or trying to anyway. But there's absolutely no reason for such a terrible cut like that.
The deeper you go, or when you start penetrating caves or wrecks, the more risk there is, and so all these things help mitigate that risk. You have to be trained, prepared, and ready to circumvent that risk, should something go wrong. And truly, a lot of this knowledge and skill can be taken back to recreational diving in a positive way to help individuals who...
Ooh, that's a pet peeve of mine, massive pet peeve. Don't ever do that. So, he has got his bungeed back up in his mouth. Watch his left hand as he gets ready to swap rags. Again, where's his hand? Covering the purge. Never do that. I don't care if you're not going to share that rag, I get it. But get in the habit of grabbing it by the hose. If you get in that habit, you're always going to do that. Or if you're going to actually do a reg switch, which he doesn't. I'm not sure what he's trying to show there. But if you're doing those reg switches, you do it with one hand. You got your long hose here, put it back around your neck, grab this reg with 2 fingers, drop it, put the other one in, purge, good to go. Never grab it with your hand over the purge button. It develops bad habits. Muscle memory develops bad habits like that. If you do it right every single time. Do it the same way every single time.
Recreational diving in a positive way to help individuals who have little to no desire ever touching or going near a cave. But I have to say that the exclusive nature of the do it right is not the correct means to get everyone to agree with one another. Instead of telling someone that they are wrong, you should focus on being a stellar example.
I'm hoping that's not a stellar example. So yeah, trim's not bad. If I was going to critique this diver, if I was doing a basic video debrief like I do with my students, I'd say, why are your hands out so far? Why are you so wide? And why are your fin tips pointing to God? Get your fins flat. Bring your legs back in a little bit. If you're constantly moving around and you feel a little bit unstable in the water, that's why your legs are out. You're trying to create a more solid base, and while your arms are out, then you probably need to look at how you're weighting your rig, diving a balanced rig, because I don't think your rig is very balanced if you're trying to do all this stuff to counterbalance some things. But very basics, your fin tips should never be up like this, ever, never. Stop it.
Others want to learn from you and naturally ask how they can improve. And you know who you might be out there in the world, those who are listening. If you're the type of diver who likes to tell everyone who they're doing something wrong, rethink your approach. This is a call out to really better the community and really help you really improve other divers. But
I get what he's saying here, and I somewhat agree. The thing I disagree with is I think it's perfectly okay to tell somebody that, I wouldn't say, hey, buddy, you suck in the water. But I think it's okay to see things that are not right and call them out. Because how do we lift up the entire industry if we allow Joe Schmo down the road who's teaching to teach in the sand, and when you try to watch him do a neutral hover demonstration, his legs are moving, he's not even in trim. Hey, dude, be better. Do better, be better. You know, let's see, can you even be in the water and have that neutral static stability, which is where you're not moving anything, not even your fins a little bit, and you're perfectly in trim and neutrally buoyant. If you can't do that, then I should be able to call you out, and it should help you. Let me go back. If you do that, I should be able to call you out, but it's how you do that that matters. You know, that constructive criticism versus just criticism. I've offered to help many people here in Amed. Hey, man, I see you're having trouble with that. If you want, come over. I'll do a workshop with you. I'll help you out. Because if I help other instructors, what's it do? It helps lift up the industry. I'm tired of seeing so many terrible instructors here teaching students that have awful skills. They're, oh, hey, we're making money. We're teaching, a bunch of people every day. That's fantastic. You're making money and putting out bad divers. Where you can still make money and put out much better divers. I think the level of training, especially here, I'm speaking here because this is where I live and where I work, can be much higher. So, hey, Amed, be better, do better.
because the do it right philosophy doesn't work
Commercials.
for most people. Help them understand why the way you do things is better, not that it is the only way to do things and it's the only way to do it right.
Well, I mean, the DIR philosophy is about this is the only way to do it right. And, you know, if you're going to Hearst Resurgence and you're going down to 250 meters, there's one way to do those dives. There's not a bunch, really. But yes, in the recreational world, there is a DIR approach that can be used, but there's also other things that work as well. So I like to take the DIR and kind of change it when I'm talking to divers. I talk about, hey, this is best practice, right? This is the best practice. Are there other ways of doing it? Yeah, but this is really the best practice. And then you get into things like side mount, where there's many different ways of doing it. Tons of different configurations in the side mount. There's everybody else's way, and then there's the right way, which is my way. Just kidding. Sort of. But yeah, in recreational diving, we can talk about DIR and explain what that means to people, but really what we want to do is we want to hammer home best practices. Good trim. Well, I love sharks and whale sharks and all these other things they've shown. I could do with less of this stuff. Just give me the information. If I wanted to see dive videos, I watch dive videos. Unless you're using it as B-roll and talking over it, I don't need these little musical interludes with dive video. It's boring and I would skip it. So for you, from DiveWise, as a creator, know that I'm going to fast forward through these sections. I'm not watching. I'm only watching it here because, well, I'm reacting to the video.
You can recommend courses that you've taken that have really helped you grow as a diver to other individuals starting out as well. These courses don't have to be full-blown technical diving. There are gateway courses like GU Fundamentals. There are
Nope, 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 nope. GU? I'm sorry, what? GU? I didn't watch this video beforehand. I never watched the videos. I watched like the first 10 seconds and then I stopped them just to see if it's somewhat interesting. But I don't watch the videos because I want to react in real time. I did do a little research on him, not watching this video, so I know he's taken a GUE course. It's GUE. It's not GU. GU is... It's not GU. If you're a dive professional, you should know how to say these other agencies. You just should.
for someone just trying to become a better recreational diver. Further, recreational diving is still an amazing and awe-inspiring activity for many to enjoy, and I feel to this day, if more people learn how to scuba dive in this world, there would be much faster technology growth and more eyes on marine conservation.
Well, yeah, that's... Okay, thanks, Captain Obvious. Obviously, if there's more people scuba diving, there is more money being put into the industry. More money in the industry means more research and development for products and dive physiology, dive theory. That just makes sense. No, Sherlock.
There are many recreational divers that exceed their certified limits, make bad judgment calls, or partake in riskier dives than they should be. And
oh, you're gonna kick up sand. That could have been filmed in Amed, where there's tons of divers just kicking sand up everywhere. No, I watched the divers take a picture of a nudie. We were waiting behind them, and then off the diver goes, out of trim like a seahorse, kicking sand everywhere. Nudie destroyed, gone, couldn't find it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Be better. Do better.
ultimately may pay the highest sacrifice in the name of the sport. There's a lot to be learned on how we can still make recreational diving community instill a higher focus on safety, skill, and experience that could lead to much less fatalities across the community in general. This balanced approach isn't about diluting either philosophy, it's about recognizing that both have value and that combining them makes us better divers.
Of course, they both have value because you can't get into technical diving without learning how to recreational dive. One is an entrance to the other world.
The technical mindset keeps us sharp and prepared for challenges that are truly pushing our limits as land-loving mammals, while the recreational mindset helps us enjoy and appreciate the wonders of the world close to the light. As we've explored the worlds of recreational and technical diving, one thing has become clear. There's no single right way to dive. The key lies in finding the balance that works for you. Challenge yourself to grow as a diver, but never lose sight of why you fell in love of the sport in the first place. And always strive to be a stronger and safer diver on your journey. Now, you might be wondering more on how to find other like-minded folks.
You know what? I don't know why I hate this so much, but I hate when people call diving a sport. I'm not sure why it bothers me, but I don't see it as a sport. I see it as a leisure activity. Maybe I don't know. It's not a sport. When I think of sports, I think of teams or one-on-one, a way to keep a score, something that is a competition. Diving's not a competition. Regardless of what some people tell you, it is not a competition. It's not about how deep you've gone. I get asked all the time, oh, what's the deepest dive you've done? Like somehow it makes me cool that I've been to 103 meters. That doesn't make me cool. Now, being able to come back to the surface from 103 meters, that didn't make me cool either. Just meant I did it right. Anybody can go down to 103 meters. I can take you tomorrow, person that's never scuba dived before in your life. I can take you to 103 meters tomorrow. Getting back up, whole another issue.
Folks to where you are, and from this video be better armed to be accepted regardless of the diving culture. In this next video here, I go into a lot more on how and where you might be able to find locals in your own community to dive with. Be sure to check it out, and until next time.
All right, there we go. That is from DiveWise. That's YouTube on DiveWise. I'll have a link in the description below as always. I'm not really sure. Oh, in his note, he even says GUE is pronounced goo in the video, which since recording I learned it is GUE. Correcting myself and letting you all know. So yeah, he knows that it's not goo. But as an instructor, you should have known that. You should know the other agencies, the big ones especially. There's basically 5 or 6 real other big boys that I would call agencies, and then the rest are little small things that most people never heard of. Get it right. But yeah, I have the link in the description. I want to thank everybody for watching us today. One of the things I do want to mention is, and it frustrates me a little bit, here at Prana Dive, we are a tech dive center. Many people believe that, oh, you teach tech. So who do you recommend for me to go do my recreational training with? Well, me, us. We also do recreational. If you do tech, you should also do recreational. Now, there's some centers that will focus only on tech, but we do everything. You can start your diving journey with us, and you can go right now up to 60 meters with us. Actually, no, that's not true. I can get my buddy, Peter Anderson, to come over here, and he can teach you to dive to 100 plus meters. So we can do everything from standard open water courses and tri dives in a single cylinder to side mount to rebreathers. Everything can be done right here at Prana Dive. If you're looking at a place, hey, where do I want to do my instruction at? And you have options, obviously, right? Why would you choose a center that only has recreational instructors at it, that don't do any other types of diving, that maybe their focus is just, this one instructor, all he does is create other instructors and dive masters? Or you can come to a center, just my opinion, where, hey, these guys and girls are tech instructors, they're tech divers, they are doing tech dives on a regular basis. That's the people I want to learn from. Now, that is the people I learned from. I got lucky and kind of fell into that kind of group of really high level divers. Now, I've said this before, my 7th dive ever in the ocean was with Amed, who holds the world record for deepest dive on open circuit. So I really kind of fell into some of these high level instructors and mentors. But why would people go to the cheapest all the time? The cheapest isn't the best. That instructor is not going to give you, that instructor doesn't even have the knowledge that other instructors are going to have. It's just true. I've seen them. I've seen it happen. I've had other instructors ask me questions that I was shocked they were asking me. So if you're new to diving and you're getting ready to look to take your open water course, maybe, or hey, maybe you've already done your open water course. Like, man, where do I go from here? I want to do my advanced course next. Really look at where you're going to take your course. Talk to your instructors. Talk to the dive center. See what type of dives they do on a regular basis. The higher level of an instructor that you can get, I believe, not always necessary, not always true. This isn't always the truth. But the higher the dives, higher level dives that your instructor is doing, usually the better instructor that they are. So just keep that in mind. Want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. I know it's been a while since we've made a video. We are making a lot of changes here, going through a lot of changes. Mihalina is going to be leaving us, so I got to find a new instructor. Hey, if you're a female dive instructor out there, send me a resume or your CV, whatever you call it. Depends on what part of the world you're in. We're going to do some remodeling here at our dive center. So it's been a lot of things going on here, which is why I haven't made a video in a while, but you're going to start seeing some more frequent videos coming soon. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, all those good things that we talk about all the time. And until next time, safe diving.